From AM 1680, The Answer, this is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. And now, here's your host, Lance Cardoza.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Business Leaders Live right here on AM 1680, The Answer. Every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., you can tune in right here and get Business Leaders Live. You can also go to Lance Cardoza, that's CARDOZA.com, and get past episodes of Business Leaders Live. Sitting across the desk from me in the studio here at AM 1680, The Answer is Arthur Moye with Full Circle Brewing.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're pretty excited about the new venture, Full Circle. You've been in it about a year now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In downtown Fresno, which this past weekend in downtown Fresno, it seems like the whole world stopped in and was just, it was out of control downtown.
It was a huge scene. There was thousands of people there. We were pouring beer. All the other craft breweries downtown pouring beer. It was a good look for downtown Fresno.
It was amazing when you walked up and down the street, Fulton Street, and what they did is a bunch of pop-ups. You know, to give you an idea what this can be in the next 3 to 4 years. And it's not a shot in the dark thing that it's going to happen overnight. It's a 3-4 year process of investment and plan for businesses to look at this 3rd Street Promenade type look, what Denver's done with their walking mall, and San Jose, what they've done with their downtown and turned it around. It didn't happen overnight, but this is the beginning. And Fulton Street that scene was pretty cool.
Just the very beginning, and yeah, it's been proven. This pedestrian mall rip out going into a street. You look at other cities like Pasadena and etc. This is like the first step into revitalizing a downtown area.
Yeah, and so Full Circle Brewing, you're over more of the Chinatown district area, which has got big news coming with that. We'll get into that too on this program. But so downtown, you're a big believer in downtown and the movement behind local investors, which you can invest in Full Circle Brewery.
Absolutely.
And that's the big news out there, and that's why we have you on the program. We're going to talk about that later in the show. So you, the listener, right now, can invest to be a craft beer brewing. You can be a part of this thing. You can buy in.
Right. If you ever wanted to own a brewery, you have an opportunity to do that. So it's something pretty unique that we're bringing to the table. We're actually the first company in the Central Valley to offer shares to the public to purchase. So we're kind of like a public-private company where the community can actually invest and have an equity share in Full Circle Brewing.
And this is one of the first breweries to do it west of the Mississippi, right?
That's right.
On the West Coast.
That's right. The program itself is only 16 months old. And, yes, we were the first brewery west of the Rockies to go ahead and do this.
Wow, pretty incredible. So you can be a part of this movement, this downtown movement and what's happening with Full Circle Brewery. Arthur, how did I know you you were in the 40 Under 40, and you were with MBS Accountancy, and that was your company that you had started in with your partner there, and you guys were rock stars in accounting. You were all over the place. And the next thing I know, you're in the brewing business, and you're going off in this venture with Full Circle, and Full Circle was a brand that was around for a while, and it moved on, and you came in, swooped it up with some partners, and so you started doing that. But how did you get your start? Where did you go to school? What was your plan in life in your career?
Yeah, I went to school at the San Jose State up in the Bay Area, and that's really where it started. I think I started off as a computer science major and took some math classes and be like, I like math, but not that much.
Yeah.
So accounting seemed to be right, and it gave me the opportunity to look into a lot of businesses and how they operate. So really, accounting was always a means to an end, an opportunity to see how good businesses operate and how bad businesses operate. And I got that. So
it's the education to the process of working with these businesses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, post San Jose State, I worked for a Big Four accounting firm, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then after that, Deloitte. And it was just an opportunity to look into, even very large companies, Black Angus, Sanrio, just some serious exposure on what it takes to be a small and a big business.
So were you from Fresno and went to San Jose State, or were you San Jose State? How did you come to Fresno?
No, I'm originally from Victorville, California, in the high desert, Southern
middle,
California.
Yeah, nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
Jackrabbits and tumbleweeds.
Yeah, and dirt bikes. That's about it. Yeah, that's the thing.
They're growing out there, though.
Oh yeah, and there's some craft breweries popping up down there in the old hometown. But the way I came to Fresno was actually my sister-in-laws, who are twins, both went to Fresno State, and I was doing the grind, getting off the BART, going up the elevator, coming down the elevator, and doing that thing like little fish in a big old pond, and came down here and just experienced a little bit of that Fresno lifestyle. Outdoors boating, and you could have a front and a backyard for like half as much as what I was paying in the Bay.
Yeah.
So my wife and I got married, and we moved here.
It was a land of opportunity after that, and coming here. And then also businesses ran that way, very much this way in Fresno. Also, everybody seems to want to help each other. They're very helpful. Like you said, little fish, big pond in those big cities. But Fresno really is, they call it the cowtown mentality sometimes, but everybody wants to help each other.
Yeah, that's what it seems. And there's a lot of, big stage opportunities to help the community out here. And then, businesses, for the most part, we're all in it together and trying to get Fresno on the map and grow our businesses. So it's a more of a team effort, especially in the craft beer scene.
Yeah. So you're sitting behind a desk and you're running an MBS and you're hustling. It's the grind. You're getting things done. And what clicks in your mind that says, I want to be a craft brewer? You must have been brewing at home or doing something as a more hobby at one point.
Yeah, I was a hobbyist craft brewer. Not super technical, but I did it, and it was a side thing. And I thought, hey, it would be cool to one day own my own craft brewery when I'm retired and done with the accounting thing. But I was not sitting behind the desk at the time, but I was sitting behind a beer, and found out from the real estate broker that Full Circle was up for sale, and just something clicked. Like it was like just a button, a reset button, and it was something that I wanted to be involved in, and I just felt like it was going to happen.
So Full Circle Brewing, give a little history, and how long were they around? They were around for many years, because I remember they've been at that spot for a long time.
Yeah, they were actually there for 17 years.
17 years,
and they were one of the first places that I came coming from the Bay Area, and they felt quite a bit special then, and so for off and on for 10 years, especially before I had kids, I was, frequenting that place and dug their beer, Clusterfugle Cream Ale, and it was just something special between that and the diversity of entertainment they brought. So, and just kept thinking one day, and it just came about through Full Circle.
Now, they were way ahead of their time, craft beer, because craft beer, this has been a thing over the past, 5, 6, 7 years, maybe?
For Fresno.
For Fresno, yeah. Because other cities, such as, we've talked about this, that Sacramento, smaller in size, 60 different craft brewers down there, or up there. And here we have a handful, 6.
Yeah, we're the 5th largest city with just, a handful of breweries out here and, population of 1 million plus. And then if you add in the rest of the Central Valley, we're really light on craft beer. And I think with the same thing with restaurants and those kinds of trends, Fresno tends to be just slightly behind. Mm-hmm. So you could kind of look at Sacramento and Oakland, Alameda, all these areas that were like kind of down and got like resurgence just by craft beer. And that's kind of looking into the future of what could be Full Circle's craft beer scene.
Exactly. And there's many, many out there, as people know, your competitors, but very good friends, Tioga and others, Pendragon, House of Pendragon, other ones are cropping up. There's also an ale trail. We always hear about the wine trail and everything else. So there's all these different aspects to this industry, not just a beer drinker. There's a culture behind it. Like you said, that ethnic diversity, it does run through the veins of Full Circle Brewery, that when you go there, it is a very ethnically diverse crowd, and it's not your typical bar scene. There's families, they're playing giant Jenga, and they're having a good time, and it's a safe place to go and hang out. So craft beer, it's becoming a part of the fabric of downtown Fresno, and also hopefully more and more. When we come back here in a little bit, we're going to talk a little bit about how you put together your team, because you couldn't do this alone. You were sitting there having that beer, and you heard that Full Circle was for sale. But what was your next step? After you heard that, you said, hey, I'm ready to do this. And what was it? So
the next step was to assemble the team, and my business partner at the time and myself had enough pennies to rub together to actually acquire the thing. But to get it to where it was today, we needed more active people that that had a few more pennies to get together. And these guys weren't like high flying investors with a whole bunch of money just sitting in the bank. They ended up being my friends and colleagues that are super supportive about the downtown scene and wanted to tap in and take a stake in it. So they've been working for all this time to revitalize downtown, and now they see a whole bunch of outside investment coming in and capitalizing on their hard work. So this was an opportunity for them to tap into the success that they've had with revitalizing downtown. So put their pennies together and made it happen.
And when we come back from the commercial break, we'll get into how that conversation went, because they knew Arthur as the accountant, and you came to him and said, "Hey guys, I want you to go on this ride with me and be a part of Full Circle family," and the rest is history. When we come back right here at Business Leaders Live with Arthur Moye with Full Circle Brewery. Don't go away. More Business Leaders Live right here on AM 1680, The Answer.
Giving you the inside story of business leaders in the Valley and beyond. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here in the studios at AM 1680, The Answer, and we're talking about Full Circle Brewery, but we don't have. You didn't bring us a beer, Arthur.
Oh man,
you didn't bring us a beer. It's hard. We're belly up to the studio tables here in the studio. Cody doesn't drink alcohol, but they have really good root beer. We were talking about during the commercial break. So Cody, you got to get down there, and Austin from my team's in here too. He's liking maybe the idea of root beer also. So, but Full Circle Brewery been around for 17 years. Arthur, you're an accountant. We were talking about the segment before this that you heard it was for sale, and it was just a passion that you had, and you wanted to get into this and be a part of it. It was going to take a team of people. So you started assembling what we call the dream team, a bunch of local people. They weren't big investors, but how did you seek them out, and how did you go to them and say, "Hey, you believe in downtown, you believe in things that I believe in"? How did that go?
Yeah, it was just organic. Like I said, a lot of them were friends or colleagues previously, and I was involved with something downtown with them, and just kind of broached the subject. Hey, you ever wanted to open up a brewery?
Yeah.
So, and the response was surprisingly just yes. So it didn't take long to get that crew together.
Perfect. And I take a little bit of pride in this thing, and I'm going to say it, that I've looked at the list of the people you have, and I'd say good 80 to 90% of them are all past Business Street 40 under 40 recipients. So they're all movers and shakers at a young age. And big dreamers. You got to have dreams. And you got to be chasing those dreams. And it's, Sarah Moffat was on the show last week, and she's one of the owners. And I think another one I can mention too is Derek Franks with the Fresno Grizzlies, and everybody knows Derek. Latricia Atkins with Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. She comes to town. She doesn't know anybody. Yep. She gets in the 40 under 40, sees what this downtown thing's all about, and wants to get involved in her community. And next thing I know, she's one of your partners. So, and there's others. And so you build this team and you put it together. Full Circle was a big task to get it turned around, to get it where you needed to be. So how did you go about doing that? What was the first thing that you needed to do?
Yeah, it was a huge task. And I think the first thing we needed to do was make sure that we could produce quality, consistent craft beer. They had some dated equipment in there. We cleaned it up quite a bit. Ordered new equipment, and then I got some really good advice from actually some of the folks over at Tioga, and they said the first thing you need to do is hire a commercial brewer, and don't risk it on my novice skills. And that's what we did. We sought that person out, and that individual plus our good equipment got us brewing. And while we were waiting for our batches, we had a whole bunch of events that were scheduled, because people don't know this, but Full Circle never closed down. There might have been a 2 or 3 week period where we were renovating, and we didn't make the decision to renovate ourselves. We actually were closing up for an event or opening for the next morning after an event, and started rolling up our gate, and it broke.
Oh no!
and we were essentially like stuck in the building. So we started renovating. We're like, okay, now's the time.
Now
so
we need to do some things here.
We not only were doing demo and cleaning up the place. We're talking like 4 or 5, yard trailers, like 5 of them to get all the stuff out of there. But we also waiting for a brand new front door so we could open to the public. So it was kind of a forced issue right in the beginning. And at that point, you got all these expenses rolling into that thing, and all you're caring about is opening back up.
Get that door open, and get that beer brewed. And so they tell people where you're located. Someone listen to the radio maybe for the very first time. They hear about everything happening downtown, and they see these things, and some people don't know or feel safe to venture downtown. But tell them where they're located and when's a good time to come down and be a part of Full Circle Brewery and see what you're doing down there.
Yeah, we're on F in Ventura in downtown Fresno, really the Chinatown district, just behind Calderes. And right off the 99 and Ventura. So we're actually pretty easy to get to. We're only 0.3 miles from both Tioga Sequoia and the stadium, the baseball stadium there. Mm-hmm. So it's a walkable distance, but we have plenty of parking right in front of us. Really, any time is a good time. We're open Wednesdays through Sundays, and Wednesday, Thursdays we're 4 to 11. Saturdays, Fridays and Saturdays we're noon to 11, and then Sundays we're open. Sometimes as early as 6 all the way till about 6.
So a lot of people, the videos you guys have online too, telling the story of the opening and everything you're doing. There's a lot of excitement about, we were talking about tapping into Full Circle. Tap in, they can go to a website and they can get all the details on how they can actually be a part owner in Full Circle Brewery. But it's pretty exceptional. A lot of people think, can they legally do that? What are they doing? And you're an accountant. You've looked at every possible detail on how to make this completely on the up and up. But for $500, someone can be a part of Full Circle Brewery up to $100,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And this was actually illegal just less than 16, 17 months ago. It came out of the 2012 Jobs Act that enacted the whole Kickstarter campaign and the crowdfunding without the equity. And then just not too long ago, now we're able to do a Kickstarter kind of on steroids. So not only do you get the cool benefits and the swag that you expect, your name on the wall for a Kickstarter, you actually get an equity interest. So it's no different than going online and buying a share of Coca-Cola and hoping for dividends and then, appreciation and value of your share.
And when you talk about Kickstarter, not everybody knows what Kickstarter is. And so this is a website. You go there and maybe it's an idea. I have a widget and I want to create this widget and it's going to do X amount of money and you're going to be a part owner in it. Or you're going to invest in, you're going to get the first widget that's coming out or the special edition widget. So not only do you get the cool swag and some bennies, you get your name on the wall. I think I saw on the list inside Full Circle, the historic building. It's been there 17 years, but you're going to be vested in this company. So if the company sells at some point, has dividends, you're going to get return based on your investment. You're going to own a piece of the brewery. So with that, you've got a lot of excitement around that, right? So how long has that campaign been going?
Quite a bit. It's been about a month in the campaign, and for the first couple of weeks, we're like working out some kinks. But now, it's really running. So a lot of excitement. We have over almost 400 people in the portal registered.
So they go on a website and they register. Walk us real quickly through that process. How does that work? If someone's interested right now, what do they do?
Right. If you're interested, the first step is to go into www.tapin.beer. So www.tapin.beer. You'll be able to see a little bit of our story, some of our goals that we had and have accomplished, and then you're allowed to register. Once you register on that website, it'll actually email you access to the portal, and on that investment portal, you'll find our business plan, you'll find our projections, you'll find our financial statements. So basically, where we've been and where we intend to go is all on there. In order for you to make the best investment decision possible. So
that's the first part. You open up the portal to get all the details so you can make that decision and see if you want to be a part of this thing that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. A lot of guys, I can only imagine a guy like you, maybe he was an accountant or he's working for the county or she's an attorney. They're all busy and they all have dreams of doing something cool and being an entrepreneur, but sometimes it's just not for you at that time. And you thought you would do it when you'd retire.
Totally.
And look, you're thrusted in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
100 miles an hour, and now offering shares to people to get in and be a part of this thing cool called Full Circle Brewery. And when we come back, Arthur's going to talk a little bit more about how that works and where they're going to go in the future. We'll be right back with Business Leaders Live.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Business Leaders Live here with Arthur from Full Circle Brewing. And Full Circle is offering shares in the company. So people are getting an opportunity, this short window of time to where they can offer this. You can be able to get in and be a part of this craft brewing sensation, Full Circle. And even our producer, Cody, he was checking it out. So he was on the computer going, this is a real deal. This is the real thing. So I'm sure everybody's checking out those computers and looking into that because it's a pretty cool opportunity. And you guys, I don't know if you imagined you would be doing this so soon in your process, right?
No, not at all. I mean, everything has been expedited beyond my expectations initially. You know, I thought I was still going to be working behind the bar, but it's
or fixing a door
or
to
fixing
get
doors,
in the front door. Yeah.
But it's growing. I mean, our team went from, basically 2 people to now, 12 people in less than a year. So it's growing immensely. I mean, even in the first 6 months of 2017, we've grown 450%. And that's a hard growth to manage, especially when you don't have the beer capacity.
And that's part of the issue of getting the capital investment from the public, right? It's because you were saying they're drinking you out of beer.
That's it.
You can't produce enough.
We cannot produce enough. At first we had about 10 or 12 beers we could keep consistently on, but now the demand is so much in-house that we'll be down to 3 or 4 beers, and we basically. Back when we were projecting at the very beginning, we purchased a canning machine, and we're like, okay, well, the majority of our beer is going to be sold, outside, or at least 50-50 was going to be sold outside, and we'll get in some stores. And but the popularity ramped up so much, we call the canning machine right now the paperweight, right? It's a very expensive one.
It's a beautiful future that's just sitting there right now.
It's just sitting there, and then we started having people come out to us from these major stores and restaurant groups, including Costco and Safeway, and saying they want our beer. And we've been consistently deferring those opportunities, and we took a 3-year plan and said, okay, well, we've done everything we wanted to do in the next 3 years. So, now the next step is to get into stores. So in order to do that, we want to quadruple our brew house capacity and add additional fermentation capacity. So we could click on that canning machine and start to be in Costco's and take advantage of these opportunities.
Perfect. And a lot of craft brewing companies are doing this. They're canning and they're getting it out to the mass market. The successful ones, the ones that have big vision to move it forward.
Absolutely. For a production brewery, usually only 7% of your sales actually happen in your tap house. Everything else is outside. So, that's a big amount of revenue flip for us and a lot of potential out there. Cans are the format. And once you're in cans, you can be basically anywhere. And for us, we can be anywhere in the state, really, because we're located in the Central Valley.
It's a perfect location for distribution for any company,
Absolutely.
Any organization. Fresno's great. And so with that, there's the big companies out there. And those big companies, I know, have probably over the past 10 years been sort of sweating bullets a little bit, thinking, okay, we got to be innovative. The beer drinker loves craft beer, and some are stuck in their old drink, but they have these other opportunities out there. So those big companies are buying up companies like yours all the time. Is that something that could be a possibility for the future?
I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I mean, and if you're looking at this from a pure investment standpoint, that is the big ticket potential payday. You have breweries like Ballast Point that sold for $1 billion. Lagunitas sold, Firestone sold, and it's a big brand management companies and the big breweries that are buying these smaller guys in order to capitalize on their their growth numbers, because their growth is slowing. We're starting to eat up more of the market. And then so the way that they maintain their growth numbers is to buy the guys who are growing fast, which would be the people like us.
Quality brand, quality beer, and has a following. And that's certainly, you guys are proving that over this past just year. And also even entertainment. I know you have E40 that was at Grizzly Fest, and it was out of control with E40, and he's coming to Full Circle this weekend, right?
Yeah, this week.
E40 is going to be in the house.
Yeah, on the 28th. We've had events like that. We've had Bone Thugs. We've got great local people as well, like Patrick Contreras. We've had POD, Alien Ant Farm. It's kind of been always what Full Circle was about, was that fusion between, the craft beer and the craft entertainment. So we bought more than one business. We also bought the venue and entertainment business in addition to the craft beer. But those two merged together are pretty powerful.
And craft beer in itself is entertainment. It's almost, there's a lot of people that go out, the vibe, especially when we talked about that vibe at Fulton Street. It was that vibe, just go hang out with your buddies, go enjoy a craft beer, enjoy a craft brute beer, Cody, and just chill out with everybody and be a part of what this used to be back years ago. And it can be again, and it is happening already. And it's all these little pieces of the puzzle that have to all come together. And it takes people to got to believe. You got to believe in it. And you did. You believed in it. You've attacked it full head, and other people's joined you. And now you're getting more people to come on to join you in moving this forward. So the next step, once you get that investment, start canning and being able to get that distributed out there. What type of challenges? The challenge is brewing enough beer, but there's other challenges in this business, craft brewing. What challenges are you facing in doing that?
Yeah, I mean, once we go to that scale, there's going to be the biggest challenge is going to be the people challenge, and getting enough people on the ground to execute, all the plans. And we've been successful at doing that, and I think it's a testament to, our investors and our operations teams just being good, very connected people in the community. So getting more people and getting them in the right direction, I think will be one of the biggest challenges, yeah. And
getting forward. So you guys are always hiring all the time. You're always looking and growing your team and doing what you need to do for the future, as any growing business would be. What is your favorite drink? Because people are listening to you right now, and they're big Arthur fans. We just got a little bit before we have to take a short break, but what's your favorite Full Circle beer?
I really dig our Northeast style IPAs. The juicy IPA is probably the ticket for me.
It's incredible. I've had the juicy myself. It's incredible. The cluster is really good too, and it's a great place. You guys have done a really good job with Full Circle and getting it cleaned up and getting it looking really nice and poised for growth in the future. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show to talk about that. When we come back, we'll be still talking with Arthur here at the studios at AM 1680 The Answer. Don't go away. It's Business Leaders Live.
Giving you the inside story of business leaders in the Valley and beyond. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Business Leaders. Sitting here with Arthur Moye with Full Circle Brewing. And Full Circle is doing some big things. We were talking about you can get local investment. You can get, and they can be from anywhere to invest in this thing now, up to $100,000 to $500. So anybody can be a part of this. If you ever dreamed of being part of craft brewing, or you just like the scene and it's something that you want to be a part of, Full Circle is giving you that opportunity. And Arthur, how can someone that was not listening earlier, maybe just tuned in, how do they get involved with that? How do you start that process to be a part of that?
Yeah, the first step is to go on to tapin.beer. So that's www.tapin.beer. And you get to see a little bit of the story about where Full Circle has come in the last year. And then you get to register to have access to our investment portal, which gives you basically, everything in the closet, right? You get the financial statements, you get the business plan, the financial projections, all the perks that you're going to get for investing in Full Circle. And
Full Circle, a lot of people, it's located at Ventura and F. It's been there for 17 years now, almost 18 years.
Right.
And you've said earlier it's never closed. So just a little bit of time, it wasn't brewing beer, and then you brought in the new infrastructure and brought some beer, got the door fixed, opened it up for business, kept entertainment, the culture alive. But that area, I mean, it's a challenge. It's one of the challenged areas of our city that we're continually getting a little bit bigger and a little bit better. But Chinatown with the TCC, and if you can explain what that is, the future of that area is getting ready to explode with all these opportunities. Just like Fulton Street's opened up and there's change in downtown's core, that area with TCC is a big thing.
Yeah, TCC was the transformative climate communities, and essentially what it was a chunk of funds that through cap and trade that got awarded to Fresno. And it's $70 million, and we were charged with figuring out how to spend that $70 million in a 5-mile radius. And Chinatown was one of those areas. So really a long story short, we've been fighting or negotiating in the last for the last couple of months to see how much Chinatown can get of that $70 million. And we're going to, we proposed and the community voted and agreed to provide Chinatown with $23 million. And it includes streetscapes, bike paths, urban greening. So quite a bit like what you've seen at Fulton Mall, and you see the success there coming into Chinatown, focusing on F Street where the brewery is located, and also China Alley. It's going to completely rebrand that area.
And be able to end the issue, you can't ignore it, the homelessness in Fresno, and it's constantly being looked at and trying to create solutions. In the past, it was really a challenge. I'm seeing it getting better and better and creating more programs, and with Pavarello House down the road from you guys, and things are getting better and better. But that's a constant challenge. But I think with improving the area and being able to provide funds into the area, which is the biggest issue, it's burdened by its growth. It can't grow because of the help. So this TCC is going to make a big difference and impact to that area. You guys tend to, it doesn't bother you if the homeless, they're everywhere, and it's not a big deal. It's pretty safe. I've been down there at night, and it's a safe spot.
Oh, it's completely safe, and people often talk about the homeless like it is a Fresno issue. It is not.
It's not.
I mean, if you go to many of these well-known breweries, to get there, you have to deal with the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say, like in the last year, especially, the fact that we've been active and the fact that PD has been so great with making sure our area is safe. F and Ventura, you could stand on F and Ventura, and many of our clients have, and at 9 o'clock at night, and there will be nobody there. There'll be nothing. You know. So I think people just have to get used to not a Fresno concept of like you need to endure going downtown, the homeless situation, and that's special to Fresno. It's not. It's a downtown thing. That element's going to be there. We just need to provide services, and then make sure there's active, dense businesses that kind of make people safe.
Yeah,
feel safe.
And those same people go to San Francisco and they'll spend $40 an hour and walk 15 miles to get to where they're going, and it's okay. And they have the same issue all surrounding them the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. And probably your security might be not as safe because of the response time. And so, but they don't think about that. And so the future of Chinatown, that area, is getting better. The brewery has turned the corner, and it's really turned into something pretty cool. And you can be a part of it, from $500 to up to $100,000. Everybody's going to ask, so what happens first? What's the first thing that's going to happen? My investment, and where do we go first? And that's that canning process, right? That's the first big thing.
Well, the first big thing is to get more fermentation tanks, so we can put enough beer in tanks so we can get it in the canning machine. The first step is more beer.
You talked about you can open up tasting rooms all over.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's an element people should know. F and Ventura, Chinatown, downtown Fresno, all in the process of revitalization. You talked about TCC. In addition to TCC, we got the high-speed rail that's rolling through there, and the underpass is actually going through just on Ventura outside of the brewery. Brand new underpass, lighting. It's going to be a very beautiful area. So we're like right at the T of all that awesome stuff. But, this is our production facility, our headquarters. It's always going to have an entertainment element and a space downtown. But we are able to, in addition to what we have going on in our manufacturing facility, open other tasting rooms throughout California, throughout Fresno and the Central Valley. So, which means that they're in the near future very well could be front-facing, very polished places to go grab and experience our craft beer.
Beautiful, beautiful. And the one thing that we always like to do here on Business Leaders Live, before we end, we're going to come back here in a little bit, so don't give it away just yet, but we'd like to find out something that somebody doesn't know about Arthur. And maybe we can call your wife. We can call Nicole, right? We can call and say, maybe we don't want to hear what she's going to say, but maybe there's something that you could share. Maybe it's a tip and trick. Maybe it's something that a word of advice, but something that someone doesn't know about Arthur. And for a while, it could have been that you loved craft beer and you had a dream, and now you're chasing that dream, so you can't use that one. But when we come back, if you can give us a little taste of that. Every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. right here on AM 1680 The Answer, you can listen to Business Leaders Live with Lance Cardoza. I enjoy being with you guys every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. This week in studio, we're wrapping up here. We got one more segment to go, and you don't want to miss this. Arthur's got a doozy, I'm sure. But Arthur from Full Circle. We'll be right back with Business Leaders Live.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
Thank you for staying with us this whole program of Business Leaders Live. I'm here with Arthur with Full Circle Brewing. And before the commercial, or during the commercial, we were talking about what was your first job, Arthur? And this one's classic. I love it. This is it was not a job, but you were out there doing it. So what was it you were doing?
Yeah, no, my very first business was sophomore in high school, and I got a hold of basically a burner, MP3 burner, and I had an M&M CD, so I started burning CDs and selling it to people. And believe it or not, for like $15 a pop. I don't even think you pay that now. And I was paying like $1 or $2 per CD, and had a little just lock, a monopoly on the market until someone undercut me.
At what point did you realize that probably is not legal?
10 years later.
10 years later. 10 years later. But you had an entrepreneur mind. You were out there hustling and doing what you need to do. I used to sell racers and candies, and I used to do all sorts of stuff at school too, right. Whatever they needed. And we just happened to get in the right crowd, and the right crowd got us in the right direction. A mentor in your life, someone that you can remember that made you think about the big picture.
I would say I had an African American studies teacher, Dr. Milner, and he kind of took me under his wing and kind of opened up my eyes, said you could do more. You got something special here. And before that, I wasn't thinking like that. So
wasn't thinking like that. He said, "Let M&M go," before you get a cease and desist.
Right, totally.
Also, you're an avid camper. You like camping.
Yeah, love camping. Love to take my family camping. Started off like tent camping and doing some backpacking, but now with 2 kids and one on the way, we have a travel trailer and we just go all over the state. So
go experience wilderness and just get off the grid a little bit.
Yep.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Arthur, thank you so much for being on the program and talking about Full Circle. We got just a short amount of time. People can invest. They can be a part of this big thing. How do they do that?
That's right. Go to www.tapin.beer and register.
And you just register, you find out the details, and find out how you can be a part of it this weekend. E40 is in the house at Full Circle. Ventura and F, that's right. The big dog himself is coming back to Fresno, be at Full Circle Brewing next Saturday, Tuesday at 9 a.m. Join me right here for Business Leaders Live. That's all the time we have. We will talk to you next week.